Hey Goddess, welcome to this episode of the Hey Goddess podcast with Wendy Lou and Angie K, your hostesses. That would be the right
With
word.
the mostesses?
We are talking about the summer energy update today, summer 2025. Lots of energy shifts have been happening, so we're excited to dive into this. Before we do that, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about us for those of you that are new to our podcast and don't know us yet. Wendy here, my co host, my Thelma and Louise, my partner in crime. She is a writer, a published
All the
author,
above.
a professional editor. She's an amazing copywriter, a Reiki master. She's an all around energy magician and a homeschool mom. So, to find out more about Wendy and all of her services, please check out her website, which is, help me out. We're going to link it below. Is it wendylou.com?
Wendy-Lou, yeah.
.com. Okay,
Someone bought
it's cut off
wendylou.com.
on my show notes, but we will make sure and link it below. So,
Perfect.
a little bit about me. I'm Angie Kay, author of Creation Codes Rise of the Goddess, Navigating Spiritual Awakening and Kundalini Energy. This is an Ascension guidebook that is full of compassion, some personal stories, and a lot of client stories as well, and tips how to reclaim your goddess energy. So if you want to find that, I'll link it below. I also have my next newest book coming out. Very exciting. As this podcast launches on May 31st, my book will be coming out in just 4 days on June 3rd. Wendy
Oh
is
my God.
the editor of this book. It's Goddess CEO. And this is a book for spiritual entrepreneurs and honestly, any entrepreneur, but especially those in a spiritual field to help you
Mhm.
to understand the things that I didn't know when I first started out and the energy and mindset tools that really shifted me into wealth consciousness and into a place where I was living from a balanced place instead of the old masculine way that we're taught to push and force and go and burn out. So I'm excited to
Mhm.
share this with you all on June 3rd. So watch this space. And if you're catching this podcast, there's a good chance that the book is either coming out in the next couple of days or is out. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
am a divine feminine embodiment and law of attraction coach, master sound activator. And if you would like to find out more about my services, you can check out my website, angiek.world, which we will link in the show notes below.
It'll all be below.
It will be below. Check the box below. So we have just been tuning in for just a little bit here before hitting the record button on the energies of summer and just kind of getting a little bit of an idea of what's coming. So I have a homemade card deck that's been really fun. Wendy has one too, but she's working with a different deck today. So this is my homemade card deck. It's actually index
Mm.
cards, which I love.
It's so big. It's mega deck.
It's mega deck.
We love mega
So
decks.
I'll just kick off with one of the first cards I got, and then you can share, we'll switch and you can share the first cards
We'll
you
just,
got. But I got Cosmic Womb as the first card,
mm,
and I just am feeling like it's, individually and collectively, a big shift of a rebirth in so many ways is what's coming to me of what we've been, you know, cultivating, holding, creating in the cosmic womb. And this is going to be coming on the individual level. And I'm getting, of course, everything that comes from the individual side. There is a collective component that always happens at the same time. So there'll be a collective representation of this birth of whatever it is that we've been holding in this womb space. And I'm getting for about roughly around the last 2 years or 18 months. There's something that happened, an idea, something that's been cultivating for a lot of people and marinating just like in the womb, right? Waiting until the right
mhm.
moment for it to be
Gestating.
born. And I'm getting early summer for a lot of people into midsummer even is this moment when this is ready. And I completely relate to that. Goddess CEO is coming out June 3rd. So, and I
Hmm.
know you have things coming out. So I
Hmm.
think this makes sense. I feel like the time is ripe for this energy to make its debut into the world. So I don't know if that relates or not
Absolutely.
to, I can't remember what the first card you pulled was.
Well, and I'll get to that. I wanted to mention too, it's like it's perfect synchronicity because I had written two really fun fiction books years ago, and I am involved now with a really cool brand new publishing company that they want to republish them with new covers, and those are going to be coming out in June. So it's perfect, like absolutely perfect.
Hmm.
Yeah. We were working on cover art last night, and they're going to be so fun. And I thought I was going to have to go in and like she goes, go change stuff in the books now before, if you want to change anything. And I skimmed through and I'm like, they're good. Like they're really cute little kind of badass goddess, but also with some romance. So, but yeah, they're coming out in June too. So absolutely perfect. And I hadn't even told you about that yet. So we're
Nope.
synchronistic. So it is perfect too because my first card was the Green Man, which if you're on YouTube, you can see the art is really beautiful. This is a fairy forest deck, which is one of my favorites. And this says, first of all, it's 34, which is seven, which always for me is like cosmic assistance, which you got cosmic womb.
Hmm.
So that makes sense. And it says initiative. So, we're initiating a new phase. We're in kind of a brand new part of our human existence right now. Just like you were saying, grand collective. Like this is a big new beginning for it's and I knew too, I've known for some time, about all the eras and the years that it takes to like for the next evolutionary cycle and all that kind of thing. And if you don't know, it's like four of them have ended at the same time, like the macro and then all the ones within that would keep on going. It's like the big one ended, a medium, and then two smaller ones. It's like three or four of them ended at the same time, like 2 years ago. And so we're in this transition phase, or we've been in, like you were saying, the last 18 months makes perfect sense. We've been in this transition phase coming into this new, I mean, we were in the new already, right? But we had to integrate. So we've been in an integration coming into this whole new era for humanity. And so it's really exciting. So initiative, like taking the initiative on your new path, I feel like at an individual level is we have more motivation. Like people always, when I do readings on my YouTube channel, they're always like, but how do I do that? You don't have to worry about the how. The energy is going to be there to bring opportunities to you for you to take the initiative on things. And for a lot of people, if you're watching this, like maybe into June, you can probably go, oh, I've already been doing that, right? Like, or even if you're watching it right away, a lot of times this energy begins a little earlier, right? We're talking about once June comes, it's going to be here. But for a lot of people, they're already feeling this, right? And so it also says fertilization and action. I mean, we have been tending our garden
Yep.
for at least the last 18 months, if not 5, 6 years, if not longer for a lot of people, right? We planted seeds a decade ago and longer ago for you, right? I mean, people have been on this 20 years, some of us have been on this journey. And so we've tended the garden really well. This is one thing that's coming for me that I want people to realize for this summer is um, get into this energy of you're doing great. Like everybody always wants to beat themselves up and, oh, but I have to do this and I have to do that. Let all that go for the summer. Let all that go. Take aligned action, as Angie can talk about and define if you don't know what that is, but take aligned action every day. And you don't have to plan that. You don't have to sit every night and go, what aligned action am I going to take tomorrow? It just has to feel good. And I feel like the summer is going to be that of, and it speaks to being more in tune with your intuition, that of just taking those, oh, here it is, here it is. And I have a friend who calls it keeping your divine appointments too. And it's like, yes, keep those divine appointments, but they don't have to be on your calendar 3 months in advance. This is going to be a time of trusting and taking the next steps when they arise instead of, oh, okay, what do I do? And there's nothing wrong with making long-term goals. I love that process. But for the summer, we're just kind of surrendering and letting the universe bring it's like when I think it was an Indiana Jones movie, right? Like when he had to walk across the cavern and he walked and the stones came up with each step. I
Yeah.
don't remember what movie it was, but it's like that's
Yeah.
where we're at right now, and we just have to trust that they're going to be there.
I love that. That's so awesome. Yeah. I'll share my next card then with that
All
because I
righty.
think that's perfect. So, a successful time is what I pulled next.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
feel like that's so great because it reminds me of like how, and you and I talk about this a lot, and even in Got a CEO, I talk about this, where it's like there was a time in the energy, the frequency, the consciousness of the planet where success was very much based on the known steps that you were going to take to get there. And this is so opposite the Indiana Jones story, right? But it was like
Yeah.
you knew exactly what steps to step on to have your desired result. And then our world changed from a solid base to a liquid base. And this happened very fast. And now I was explaining this to a client the other day. It's like before, say you were playing, like, let's just use the analogy of pool, because I was just thinking of like how the ball would go. So you hit the
Okay.
ball, it hits the other ball, it goes in the pocket. It's a done deal. You know exactly how to do it if you do it correctly, right? If you aim correctly, if you hit it, all the things, right?
Right.
Now, when we move to a water-based state, you hit the ball, and like the indie story, you have to trust where the ball is going. Now, the ball might be going to the pocket, but think of the ball as floating versus going across a solid surface. So this
Right.
is where things are different in the frequency. We have to show up differently. We
I love
can show
it.
up in the other way. But a lot of people out there are
Good
saying,
choice.
even people that's their tried and true method, those strategies, whatever, that older style, they're saying that doesn't work anymore, right? They're losing money. They're not having the same experience that they had. And so it's only when we surrender into the fact that everything shifted in the last 5 years into this completely different state of being, our whole planet, we have to show up differently. So it is like indie. It's based on trust, right? So we have to trust that out of the ground, the
Hmm.
path is going to appear. And
Out
when we
of the
get
fog.
forwarded,
Yep.
and before our foot hits the ground, the next thing happens. That creates a successful time in this energy. It's
Yes.
completely different than the experience that we came from. And it just
Right.
takes so much more trust. And like you said, you really have to surrender. And you were talking about surrender for the summer. I think that's 100% what we need to do in this experience is be in a surrendered place because you can't force it. You
Right.
can't
And it
force
doesn't
the
mean
ball
we're
into the
not.
pocket like before.
No, and it doesn't mean we're not going to move forward in big ways. In fact, I think it's
Hmm.
going to allow us to really take some leaps.
Yeah.
Like if I've got a lot of things that are happening that I'm working on, and you as well, and we know a lot of other people who are like all these new projects, all these new endeavors, all these new opportunities. It's like, and summer is going to be a really beautiful time of nurturing them and bringing them to life. For a lot of people, it'll be still gestation, right? But it's the working on it. Like, for me, I've got three things going, and it's going to be working on it through the summer. But
Hmm.
trusting that, because the other day I was a little overwhelmed. So I'm like, can I do all of this? It's all of it is feeding my soul. So of course I can do it all. Of course it all feels aligned. And it's not that much when you break it down. But again, I had to step away and go, okay, I'm the kind of person that schedules my day, right? And schedules my week and schedules my month. And I'm like, I just won't be able to do that because I could try and then aligned action is going to show me a different way. I could try to schedule the day, but then aligned action is going to take me all away from it. So I like your analogy of the pool too, because it might go in the hole, but imagine too that the hole is no longer the only option to
Mm-hmm.
succeed, right?
Right.
There's a lot of different ways to do it. And that's another thing, message coming through too. It's like we realize there are different ways of doing things. We've been still pulling away from the old ways. We're
Yeah.
finally really, really embracing these new ways and just grabbing hold of them. And creating our own, like you would say, our own milkshake with it too. It's like grab something and then make it yours and put something unique out into the world. I think
Yeah.
that's what I'm going to be doing this summer. So, and I'm feeling that for my own projects, and I think it's going to be beautiful. So, can I do my second? I'll do my second
Yeah.
card.
Yeah. Please do.
So, my second card, we were talking about it. We are kind of laughing about her because it's a very Christmassy card, but it's the Yule Singer. Obviously, even the name is very Christmassy, and it is literally snowing around her. And I always think of this card as she looks like a Christmas bride, like she's getting preparing to walk down the aisle. And of course, marriage, any message of marriage is just a new path, brand new path, but a new beautiful path that you're looking forward to, right? Something that's
Hmm.
like, oh my gosh, this is like going to set the tone for the rest of my life kind of path. And then she's just got the snow falling on her and she is not bothered at all. And I love how she's like, there is a dress there, you can barely see it. But I
Okay.
love how it's like you would imagine it's cold out there. She's not feeling it. So it's also about Whatever's going on around you, let it. It has nothing to do with you, and it doesn't have to affect you in any way because we're going to be in our own energies and just catapulting forward. And so it says rebirth, feasting, joy. So
Mm.
where a lot of people are going to be still experiencing kind of that, okay, now I know what my path is. I'm going to start creating and building kind of behind the scenes or under the covers. I almost said what I don't know if that's a thing, but people creating kind of and not really sharing a ton, right?
Mhm.
Like that's where you and I have really been the last couple, I would say 6 months. We knew we were creating, but it's not like we were putting it out there for the whole world yet,
Mhm.
right? There's a time for it. So a lot of people are just coming into that, but we're all still in this bubble where we're going to be, the rest of us are going to be totally supporting that, right? Because we're going to be like, oh my gosh, that's where I was 6 months ago. You got this. Like, let's go. And so we're going to be holding the torch on the other end. But then it's like the feasting and joy. It's like a lot of other people are starting to see the fruits of their labor now. And I feel that throughout the summer, that by the end of the summer for sure, but especially June, we're going to be seeing people really digging in and being like, oh my gosh, I actually have this thing now that I never thought I could have that I love working on, right? Because it doesn't feel like work because it's soul feeding. And I think it's going to be something. It's like we're going to see people coming out of the woodwork going, I think I'm creating something, like and being really excited about it. So I
Yeah.
think that's beautiful. And just feeling that joy of, I think a lot of people have been robbed of that, being caught in the old system where they work in a job they didn't like, or maybe they were in a relationship they weren't happy in, and now they're coming out of this fog and really feeling joy for the first time on a whole new level, on a whole new level.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah. And she is 36, which is nine, which is the end of a cycle,
Yeah.
wrapping it up.
It's
So,
interesting because I think you use these exact words, and I was like, I'm just gonna pull another one of my homemade cards, and it was exciting new endeavor.
oh
And
my
you
gosh, I
might
said
have
endeavor,
actually
didn't
said
I?
that.
I think I did.
Yeah. And the time is now. So
And I do
if
know
you've
about the
been waiting
exciting
to
endeavor card.
reveal your, to birth whatever it is out of the cosmic womb, maybe you've been holding it in there too. That's coming to me.
Right.
I think
Right.
this is
Like
the
nobody
moment
wants
and
to be
this is the message, and
overdue
maybe that's
because
why you're on this podcast right now, is because your message is it's time to allow this to be born, whatever it is. Maybe you've been waiting for a while. Like you said, Wendy, you could have been waiting 20 years with this. I was getting for a lot of people the last 18 to 20 months. For some reason, 20 is coming to me. 18 to 20 months have been big for something. And could be a culmination of something that's been around for 20 years, but like a bigger chunk of something happening in the last 18 to 20 months.
absolutely. It's been really intense that time, right? The last 18
Hmm.
months has been really pushing us more than ever.
Hmm.
Like
Yep.
we thought it couldn't get more. Every time we're like, whoo,
Could
this is
it get
intense.
more
And
intense?
then
Yeah.
it'll amp up even more.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the time is now. I think that's perfect. I think whatever that means for you, it's like it doesn't necessarily mean sharing it to the world. The time might be now for starting to work on it, starting to
Hmm.
work on it in private, even if that's what you're feeling. But I know for 2025 in general, I got a big message late last year when we did a 2025, right? And I
Hmm.
feel like we talked about like 2025 is going to be about holding these things close until you know it's ready. And they could be ready in
Hmm.
2025, but it's really going to be more, a lot of people are going to feel that. Like, I want to create this, but I'll tell the people closest to me that I really truly trust and not really anybody else. And it's not necessarily about, okay, we're worried about people stealing it. It's just kind of, it might take the wind out of your sails about it, right? Like if you share it
Yeah.
too far and wide, it kind of robs you of that kind of passion that you have while keeping the secret, right? You're like, oh, this is really going to be good, and I can't wait to
Yep.
show it to people when it's ready.
Yeah.
So yeah, whatever the time is now means for you, that's,
And it can
take
stop you dead in your tracks. I remember something like that happened, and everything is divine, right? And I don't
absolutely.
regret this at all, but I do have something that happened exactly like that. I shared with a woman, I had this inspiration to go learn this healing modality, and I told her, and we were friends at the time, and we had been friends since college. So, this was in my later 20s, but I had this inspiration and I was so excited. And I told her, and she just took the wind out of my sails, told me why I couldn't do that. It was
Oh,
ridiculous. And And it honestly, it did stop me dead in my tracks, which is really strange because now I would not let something like that stop me. But I do
Right.
know that that can happen just firsthand from the experience. And I ended up not studying that modality, which turned out to be fine. I did end up studying a different one, but it did delay me by
Yeah.
about 2 years. And no shade on
Well,
her. Everything happens as it's supposed to. I'm not saying I
sure.
was a victim in that scenario at all. But what a learning lesson for me to know that it's very important who you're going to share something with when
Right.
you know it's divine inspiration about your path. And I hadn't had at that point that much divine inspiration at that point in my life. And so it
Hmm.
was a big deal for me. It was like, oh my gosh, I'm being guided. I know what to do. And then it just took the wind out of my sail. So it
Yikes.
was
Yeah.
another 2 years till I went and studied energy work at that point. So, but that's okay. Lesson learned. So when you
Right.
have something, some divine inspiration in the cosmic womb, right?
Hmm.
Then the point is be careful who you're sharing it with because it's
Hold it
really
close.
important that sometimes you keep that stuff under wraps. And that was that message I remember when you were getting it and you were saying it's not necessarily about, I think you shared that at the time, somebody stealing your ideas or whatever. It's just protecting them. So you're protecting your own energy so that it stays with you all the way till the end to completion and is born
Right.
into whatever it's meant to be in the physical
Right.
reality. So, yeah,
Yep.
such a huge learning lesson that we all have to go through that, right? That's such a thing.
Absolutely. And
Especially
one
those of
thing,
us who are innovators here to do something completely different. And then when we share it
absolutely.
with people who are on the traditional path, they get threatened. I mean, that's really what comes to me is they feel threatened that
Absolutely.
you're going to do something different and it scares them.
Hmm.
And it scares that
Yep.
part of them that would love to do that and never could do it.
Right. And that happens a lot, unfortunately,
Hmm.
on this journey too. It's like, and we can be so knocked down by it. And so obviously the lesson is to let go of, giving a shit
Yep.
what people think about what you want to do. But when we share something, like I remember too, I can't remember a specific example, but I do remember times in my life where I was very excited, like you were, to share it with something with somebody and they just completely swatted it out of my hands and was like,
Hmm.
no, 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 you don't want to do that. And and yeah, it can be very, it can really dull you for a while, right? It can really cover up that energy. But again, like you said, divine timing. But now we're in a time where we've learned from that and we don't need to let people do that anymore to us, right? But and it's not that we're like afraid of that happening, right? But it's like the right thing to do, the aligned action is to hold it close right now and let it really be nurtured by your own energy instead of putting it out. And when you don't, if there is something that you don't use or you don't follow to completion, it's floating in the ether, somebody's going to grab it and do it. And so we have to get out of the energy of two, like if you've sat on something for a long time and then you notice somebody else is doing it, you need to examine if you're resentful or angry about that. Well, you sat on it for a long time, right? And it's in the ether. All the ideas are in the ether, and whoever plucks it out and runs with it is who is going to bring it into reality and create it. And so that is almost, it's a blessing in disguise if you think about it, because so many of us have backlogs, right? Of, oh, I'm going to do all these things, right? Well, that's one thing you can take off your list because it wasn't meant for you to do anything with. It was somebody else's. So you can check that off your list and have less of a, this this kind of, to-do list that we make for ourselves in our brains, that it's like, okay, I want to do this and I want to do that, I want to dabble in that and maybe someday do that. And if somebody else takes it, then it's not for you.
Yeah. And sometimes we don't take the aligned action too when we're supposed to.
Right.
And then that's a lesson for
Right.
us. It's like, yep, there I think it's Carl Jung that said the total number of minds in the universe is one. There's one divine
Yep.
mind. There's all these ideas come from one mind, but it chooses whoever is the perfect person to bring through that idea based on their experiences, how their life is at the moment, and
Right.
however it aligns with them. And so if you're that person and you receive that divine inspiration and you start marinating in the cosmic womb, but you don't ever bring it all the way to fruition to be a physical, whatever it's meant to be physically in the outer reality, because you don't take aligned action when you're supposed to, then it does go to another person because
Mm-hmm.
it wants that particular idea wants to be born through someone. I always say it
Right.
comes through first as a desire. I might have talked about this on other
Yes.
episodes,
Yeah.
but a lot of people, when they talk about the process of manifestation, like how does something come from nothing into manifestation? I feel like they leave out desire, and desire is one of my favorite topics because desire comes from the feminine. And I feel like even before a thought forms, because everything comes from the feminine first, right? Like all energy is born, anything that becomes a thing, it was first
Well,
energy that came from the feminine, right? And so
even
desire
all
is that
babies start
energy.
out as female, right? All
Yes,
babies are
yes,
female first.
exactly, exactly. Everything starts with the feminine. And so desire comes in from, the divine energy, the divine feminine. It comes into the heart. And before it's a thought is taking it closer to form, it's actually a desire. So it's more of an
Mhm.
amorphous feeling that has to actually become a thought. So it's like it's like, what desire feels like. It's I would really love, that's the beginning of the sentence, right? And then
Mm.
switches to a thought. I would really love this thing, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then it switches into manifestation at that point. And the more that you focus on it, then of course it can become something in the physical reality. But it started off as a desire, which is an energy, a
Absolutely.
feeling, right? So, and
Mm-hmm.
then of course we all know thoughts become things, Mike
Yeah.
Dooley, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so I just that's how I was relating to what you were sharing. I love it, but
Yes.
I think that the huge lesson. I feel like there's a lot of lessons in what we're sharing. The huge lesson
Right.
is if you don't act on it, like Wendy said, then really don't. You can be resentful, but you really don't get to blame
Go in and heal
anyone
that. No, you
for
don't get
that
to.
because that energy wants to be created. And it's interesting because, like with my book recently, this was coming through to me. And I think I texted you right away too about this. So I was asking people about my cover. I was at a holographic sound event. I was helping, and this was like my perfect audience for Got a CEO, spiritual
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurs, people that relate to the images and topics that I'm talking about. So I show them these two covers, and I'm getting mixed feedback, right? And then we go into a deep meditation with sound, and I hear the book determines its own cover. The book is its own entity, right? I am just birthing the book through me, through my divine feminine
Right.
vessel and my experiences as a human being. I was the perfect person to bring through this consciousness, this transmission, this
Mm-hmm.
message ultimately. But layered within any message is a transmission, right, of higher consciousness. So I'm just chosen for it. So the book has its own image for its own cover. So the point of the whole thing was don't ask anyone. You're just going to be frustrated. The book
Right.
has its own image. So
Because if
that
you
was
ask
like
enough people,
another,
it's going to be
yeah,
50-50.
exactly. So that was like another example of the same concept that I love that you were just talking about, which is
Yeah.
it's it's going to find someone, a channel to birth through.
Right.
So, and a lot
Yeah.
of times, like these things, these ideas, these things that come through us into the cosmic womb through desire and then thought, these are the keys to our freedom. Like these are the keys to our fulfillment, to our financial freedom, to the things
Mm-hmm.
that we're asking for. So when we don't act on them, it's almost like, why wouldn't it go to someone else?
Exactly. It's not going to wait around forever for you. And I
Yeah.
would say too that sometimes there are things that are meant to come through multiple people too.
Hmm.
So if finding out that someone else is doing the same thing motivates you to pick that back up because there's room for everybody, right? Even if you're doing the same thing and everyone's going to put their unique spin on it, whatever it might be, right? A program or whatever. Obviously, I'm not advocating, plagiarism or stealing somebody else's idea, but if you already had the idea and you're like, that's really similar. It makes me really want to pick this back up. You're going to know, right? It's going to be, if you feel resentment and anger, chances are that it's time for you to let go of it and let this person, have it. But at the same time, there could be things that are meant, like, that three people invented the telephone at the same time, they say, around the world. And there was no internet then. So how in the world, you can't explain that away except for that the idea was in the ether and the frequency was right in that moment, like literally within days of each other, invented the telephone at the same exact time. And so they were all three meant to bring that through.
Yeah.
because the world is a big place, and back then there wasn't any instant communication, and
Yep.
so that the whole world could have it. So yeah, think of it that way. And yes, your idea could be as big as the telephone was, right? Like
Yep.
the dawning of that age was planet changing, was globally, it changed everything. And so
Yeah.
you could have that idea. So if you're still feeling it, don't scrap it unless you're really, not feeling it anymore. But I was just saying to, I just was writing the intro for my book, for my Parenting Through Ascension book, and I think I said something like, it's time. It's time to share your story. It's time to at least start cultivating it, right? Like start creating it. And when you feel like it's time to write it, sing it, paint it, build it, perform it, dance it, whatever your art form is, and everyone is an artist who's here right now, everyone, there's always some way to bring it through. Even just like, even CEOs, it's an art form really to create the legacy that you're creating. It's your own very personal and unique art form. Bring it, do something, take the steps now to bring it into reality, because there is someone who needs it. There is someone who is waiting for your message to inspire them. So we say that all the time. It's like, stop sitting on it. Stop sitting
Yeah.
on your genius. Get it
Exactly.
out there.
You know what this is reminding me of so much? When we did the 2025 reading, it was all about innovation. And that's what you were talking about with the
Yeah.
phone. Yeah, so innovation was hot for this year. And so
Hmm.
I'm just wrapping that in now. I really want to. It's like the innovation maybe that you've been sitting on for 2 years, 18 months, 20 years,
Hmm.
it's like ripe in the energy for you to get that out there. So hopefully, I mean, maybe our words are getting you motivated to, if there's been something that you've been sitting on, maybe you need to go get a patent. Maybe there's a simple form you need to fill out. Maybe you need to make yourself an
Hmm.
LLC. Maybe you
Yes.
need to incorporate. Maybe somebody's been knocking down your door to be your aligned collaborator, and you're always like, I don't know if today's the right day.
Yeah,
But you know what? They're going to go be someone else's collaborator. I can tell
they
you right
will.
now. And they might be
So
the
is
most
it
aligned, most amazing
right
collaborator. And then you're going to watch them succeed and go,
with
dang
somebody
it, I
else?
could have
Yep.
had, not that there isn't another one for you, because of course there is.
There will
I'm just,
always be another one, but why
there
wait,
will.
right? And it's not
Right.
always about, is it misaligned? Is it feeling misaligned, or are you just scared, right? Is there just a
Yeah.
healing that needs to be done around that? And
Watch
it's
the
funny that
resistance
you talk
video.
about cultivating these ideas for 2 decades. Some of us, I started the idea for the Parenting Through Ascension 7 years ago.
Hmm.
7 years
You
ago, and
did.
I'm just now sitting down to write it. And I created a YouTube channel called Parenting Through Ascension, and I knew that there was a book there. 7 years it took me. Now, other people definitely have written, like I've done the research, right? There are a few books out there about parenting through your own internal spiritual journey, and they're all beautiful. And so it's definitely coming through, but this was the time to do it, right? This felt
Yep.
right.
It is.
You
It's
know,
perfect.
I
I
think
do think that is in the energy now for that,
absolutely.
for that
That was
shift in consciousness around parenting.
And I still have, yes, absolutely. It's
Hmm.
so prevalent right now with all this stuff going on in the world, right? I don't want to say confused, it's not all confusion, right? But our children are facing things that we never had to face, right? And
Hmm.
are having to deal with things that we never would have even imagined dealing with. And so absolutely, absolutely. I have one more card. I think you've
Okay,
talked about all the ones, but we could
let's
pull more. But my
let's
third
hear it.
card was Ragnarok, which is the apocalypse, right? Which really just means brand new time, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
brand new time. And we've been talking so much about everybody is claiming their new paths now.
Yep.
And some people still not really wanting to, but nothing else is left. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you have deconstructed your entire old life and you're just sitting in the empty hole, it's time to go. It's time to go get out of that hole and see what the universe is trying to bring you.
Mm-hmm.
Don't try to build. See, I get a lot of people, a lot of clients come to me and like, well, I got to rebuild in that hole. Why? Why would you do that? That hole is where the old stuff was sitting, and it's
Mm-hmm.
the old vibration. And we sit there because we're afraid, right? Because
Yep.
the biggest thing humans are afraid of is change and what's coming, what might happen, right? The
Right.
future.
And we can, and
Yeah.
that's the thing. That's the thing that we can never stop.
Right. That's the
We're
one thing.
constantly changing.
The march, yeah, the march of time. And so it's number 11, which is angelic. I mean, we have,
Hmm.
and coming in with the seven too, it's like the angelic assistance is here. It's not coming, it's here. It's always been here. One thing Angie teaches, and I've taught my individual clients is, when you start talking to your guides, they will tell you, we've wanted to help, but you have to ask because they're not. If you ever watch Star Trek, they had the Prime Directive. They weren't ever allowed to interfere with free will, and that was such disclosure. I mean, Gene Roddenberry knew some stuff, but the our guides are not allowed to interfere with our free will, and so they'll help when they can. But if we don't ask, if we don't ask, and essentially, if you're depending on where you're at on the journey, all of the guides are just aspects of you. They're all just aspects of you here to help you. They're aspects of you without the baggage, without the trauma, without the need for the healing, right? And so you're consulting yourself without all of this stuff in the way. But you have to ask. You have to ask. And that's just kind of the way we set it up right now. We will probably, transmute that, but I wanted to read the rest of this too. It's like, first of all, this image, if you're on YouTube, you can see this image, and it's just really like every time I pull this card for a client, it's like time to burn it down, time to burn down time, and really time to get out of that hole. You've done great. You've gotten rid of, you've let things fall away. You've surrendered. You've let go. You've maybe even sold things. You've moved. All these things, right? But you're sitting in that hole. And so it's time to, and burning it to the ground could mean, okay, it's gone, sweetie. It's gone. It's time to go to a new place now instead of waiting. Because, yes, the seeds can be planted there, but that's for the next person. That's not for you because that needs time to grow. It's not yours anymore. It's time to move forward. And so it does say destruction, ending, final moment. Like I feel like a lot of people are there, kind of what
Yeah.
we would say at the end of our rope, right? At the end, like there's nothing left for you to do with the old.
Yeah. I
Nothing
love
else can
that.
be done with it.
Okay. That that's great. Amazing clarity. Thank you. I pulled
Cool.
one for end of summer since we're
Oh,
getting
good. Yes,
close
I
to
should do
our
that.
wrap up time.
Okay.
Maybe we should each pull one for end of summer. I got significant life event.
And I'll do it from my homemade
So
deck.
I feel like that
Ooh, I
really
love
goes
that.
along with what you were talking about, a significant life event. It's like either a significant life event can happen to prevent you from continuing to build on an old, crumbly, done foundation, right?
Yes.
Or a significant life event can happen to begin, and really both endings and beginnings are the same. So really what I'm saying is two of the sides of the same thing, right? To
Right.
begin your new life. So it could be both, or it could be one or the other, but really ultimately they're the same thing because even if one is an ending, it's just a beginning. And
Mm-hmm.
one could appear more like a beginning, but it's also an ending to something else, something that no longer fits. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I was getting for end of summer. So as you know, whatever is coming from the cosmic womb in June and July, in the beginning of summer, then it also could force a significant life event
Mm.
to come. That would come anyway in its own timing, but the timing is perfect when the energy is coming as it is with something new is being born. And like you said,
Yes.
you're not going to build that brand new thing on
On
top
the
of
old
old. We're not
foundation.
going to put
Right.
couches on top of couches, right, Wendy?
No, we talked about that. Like instead of getting rid of your old couch, just buy a new couch and put it on top.
Who would do that?
We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. That old couch is broken
Right.
and it's
Throw the old
useless
couch
now.
away. The cat ate the
Throw it
bottom
away
anyway. You
first.
know it. All the fabric's
Take it out
gone.
the door first before you bring the new one in. This is important. So, yeah. Yeah, I love that. And so I pulled, what does your heart say?
Ah, there you go.
There you go. So, aligned action
Follow
all the
your
way,
heart.
every
And
day.
that's desire. Follow your
That is
heart.
the
What are your
desire.
desires? You know what a really good takeaway process I feel like for people could be from this episode is in order to find out what you desire, which would be the first step of any manifestation process, right?
Hmm.
Because so
Hmm.
many of us manifest from things that are other people's desires because
Oh,
we have
goodness.
the ability to manifest and we have the ability to tap into desire. We can tap into things that aren't even for us, right? And like we said, like from the one divine mind, there are certain things for you just for you. And
Hmm.
two, like they could also be for other people, but there are things just for you. And so you need to be in tune with your own desires. So we could leave you with a process, which is asking yourself every day for the month of June. Let's start there. If you want to continue to July, if you're loving it, keep going.
Hmm.
What do I want? It's so simple. But like, when do we ever do it? Like, especially as women, as moms, we're like so busy helping everyone else with
It's
what
what
they
do they want
want.
every
Yeah, I
day?
think
Yeah,
men are better at knowing what they want and actually going for it.
I
So
agree.
let's, in this way, like, let's be like the men. Let's ask ourselves what we want and
Yep.
actually choose it. So
Yep.
rather than something like if Wendy said to me, let's go to a movie. And I'm like, yeah, let's go. And she's like, okay, what do you want to see? And then how many times do women go, I don't know, what do you want to see? Right?
Yeah.
I
I
didn't
don't
even
care.
stop and
Whatever
ask
you
myself.
want.
I didn't even stop and say, well, what are the
Yes.
options? Let me go look and then I'll get back to you and tell you what I want to see. That's a way of giving yourself the lived experience of actually saying what it is that you want. So
Yep.
give yourself the lived experience. Ask yourself, what do I want? What do I want to eat right now? Not what everyone else is going to eat, but like, what do I really want to eat? Like, what would nourish my body? What do I want
Yes.
to watch on TV? Not just what is on because everyone else is watching it, or the news because
Right.
it's convenient, whatever. Like, really ask in every moment for the month of June, just practice. What do I want? Then see how you go with July. Maybe you want to carry forward with the process because it's so powerful for
Yeah.
really getting rid of, like what you're talking about, Wendy, the old couches, because that's stuff that maybe you wanted, an old version of you wanted, or someone else wanted. So it
Mm-hmm.
helps you to
Right.
like clear out those old desires that don't even serve you anymore and really get in tune with the ones that are coming in. Because if something is birthing out of the cosmic womb right now, new desires are coming in because it never stops. As a
No.
human being, you're always receiving more desires, more ideas. You're a constant creative being. It's what you're here to do. Just constantly create in this beautiful
Hmm.
physical experience. So that's my TED Talk.
Absolutely. Love
Do
it.
you want to
I
add
have
anything?
nothing else to say. I have nothing more to add. So yeah, I would say that I think summer it feels like a time of surrender and being able to enjoy oneself. And maybe this will be a relief because I do feel like the last 5 years have been really tough. And even the last 5 months, like we're recording this in mid-May, and so the last 5 months, the first 5 months of 2025 have really pushed us. And so I think we deserve, and I was just telling somebody yesterday, this young man who works at the health food store, that we always end up talking about crystals and stuff, and he just is so aligned. And I said, this is going to be the time for, like, it's perfect timing. We deserve what's coming. The reward is real, I think is what I said to him. I'm like, hang in there because the reward is real. And it is. And the reward is going to be feeling more in the flow because we're just going to be in a place of being able to surrender more easily. And we laugh about it too because like the more you try to surrender, the less you're surrendering. The more you try to let go, the less you're letting go. So it's really about a total surrender, trust. Trust is the key. Trust that everything is coming to you that you want and more. Like you were saying, just that is what do I want? And oh, I would add too to that because I love that, and I think it has such a beautiful opportunity for growth in that. Because if you think about it, like you were saying, what do we always say? Oh, I don't know, whatever you want. Start being that person who, when somebody asks you what you want, you tell them. You tell them what movie you want to go to. You tell your husband or your boyfriend where you want to go eat. Tell them, and then they're going to get used to that new you and know that hey, when I ask them, they take it seriously. They don't just go because we've gotten to that point, right, where communication is so vague, and it's like we know they're going to say I don't know whatever you want, but we ask anyway. Be that person who says, and maybe work on that into July and August. Let it evolve to that, but be that person who actually tells them. Because I know Angie and I have gotten to that point in our relationship. If I'm asking you what movie you want to see, then I really don't care, and you get to pick.
Yep.
Because
We are
we
like
don't
that.
play games
Yeah.
with each other. We don't play games with each
Yep.
other anymore.
And
So yeah,
even
be
with
that
the
person.
topic for the podcast, we'll do that with the, what do you want to talk
Absolutely.
about? And
Yep.
yeah, if you ask the other person, then we'll say, let's talk about this. Yeah,
Yep.
it's true.
Absolutely.
Yes, I love it. So, yes,
Beautiful.
give yourself that lived experience if you're resonating with what we're sharing right now. What do I
Hmm.
want? And maybe we'll do a whole episode on desire. I don't think we've done that one
Love
yet,
that.
so that would be a great topic
Beautiful.
for summer because summer is
Yay.
sizzly and desire is a sizzly energy.
It's just going to be fun. I think we're going to be allowed to have more fun, and I love it. I can't wait.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do it. Okay, that will wrap it there. It's 12:12, so I think that's a good wrapping
Beautiful.
point. If you would like to know more about Wendy and my services, please check the description box below. And remember, on June 3rd,
Jeez.
2025, be sure to hop on Amazon and purchase Goddess CEO. You should be able to type in Goddess CEO and my name, Angie K, and it should pop up for you. If for some reason you're not finding it, we will link it in the show notes once it becomes available on
Oh,
Amazon.
absolutely.
And you can also go to my Facebook page and you should be able to find it there. So that
All right.
is a wrap for us
Thank you.
for
Thanks for being here.
enjoy your week and we will catch you on the next episode in mid-June.
Bye, Goddess.
Bye, Goddess.